Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Graz bringing you another video for the Diablo 3 beta weekend as the stress test continues. Now, unfortunately, due to some error, we've lost the audio for this video, as well as the next video as well. But quite frankly, that may be a good thing because, well, this will give me a better chance to improve the audio quality, excuse me. But anyway, I appreciate all of you tuning in to check out the videos that have been done so far. I may have done things the way some others have done it, but I'm basically like a kid at Christmas time when it comes to this game. I mean, it's been pretty fun to shoot all this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of learning it and remembering it as I'm going along. There's certain points, like with the waypoints and the teleports, I probably could have used those better. But yeah, I'm coming to understand those. But I mean, I've had a lot of fun, especially like points right here. I mean, come on. I mean, it's not just the graphics that have been upgraded, but I mean, for the most part, it's a pretty neat experience all in all. I mean, if people had to ask me, what do I think of the beta and would I pre-order? Oh, most definitely. Now, I hate to derail this real quick, but just to let you know, I've already said this before. The pre-orders for the collector's edition, for the most part, they're pretty much done. The pre-order price for the collector's edition was $99. If you see a price higher than $99, then you're being kind of ripped off. I mean, you could still pay it, but you're going to be buying somebody else's pre-order. That's all it is to it. So, I mean, it's really up to you. I've seen them on Amazon for about $200, $209. So there's no way in the world I'm going to pay $209 for a pre-order. I mean, I would love to have the collector's edition, but at the same time, I'm not going to pay somebody an extra $100 just so I can have it. So anyway, back to the video. This is in the cathedral. We're trying to make our way down to the Skeleton King. Now, the Skeleton King is, for the most part, pretty much the end of the beta going on into here. I didn't want to give you that spoiler yet, but for the most part, it is what it is. I'm under the understanding that the level cap is 15 for the beta, but as you can see, I'm nowhere near that right now. But I'm not going to spoil everything for you. I'm just going to let the video continue to roll. But yeah, I mean, it's been pretty neat. I mean, there are certain things that I, expected. I mean, for the most part, it's still a Diablo game, so you're still going to be continuing to do the same things. The graphics are very nice. The gameplay is still the same pretty much. But, I mean, there's new twists and new elements. I mean, yeah, you still have your magical monsters that teleport, and, they're pretty tough. But, I mean, it's just how the game is played and how it looks. It gives you that different feel to it. I mean, like these guys right here. And then you got different types of monsters that come rolling up and everything. So, I mean, these guys, the big guys right there, they're going to take a lot of hits. And then, once you get a magical one or once you get that gold one, forget about it. The gold one's tough. I mean, yeah, we do face off against the gold one. And believe me, he's a bit of a pain in the ass. And, that's when you're a demon hunter and one of your new abilities comes in the hand. And that's the trap ability where you can slow them down and you can pretty much go to town on them. Now, there's also another ability that I'll pick up either in this video or the next. It's another ability that's like trap, but it's going to actually help you get out of sticky situations. And at first I didn't think it was nothing much to begin with. But as you'll soon see, I mean, it's a pretty cool ability, and it's really helpful on boss fights. Either that or big fights where you're basically surrounded by mobs. But I guess if I could say there was one mistake I made during these videos, was probably the fact that I didn't use the waypoints enough. I should have used them and emptied my pack out. I just kind of like ran along and stuffed my pack full, and I just, stuffed everything I could in there. Then at one point I just be like, okay, what do I really need? This gray crap I'll throw off to the side. Okay, this white, okay, I'll just throw this off to the side. There were waypoints. I just really didn't utilize them. I was kind of trying to like play it on the safe side. So I guess if I had to critique myself, I could probably say there were some things I could do better, And this was brought to my attention through somebody on Facebook, and I really appreciate the feedback. Feedback, constructive criticism is a good thing. There's people out there who will say, "Oh, blah 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 blah, this sucks." Okay, well, what's the reason? But at least constructive criticism, it helps me learn to do things better. In this case, I probably could have made a better tutorial by doing a few things different, but whatever. Even though this ain't a tutorial, this is just basically a walkthrough on the stress test. But it's just the fact that if you got something on your mind, then please feel free to say it. Don't be afraid to, or don't think I'm not going to have the time. Because I mean, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm going to get your message. I actually had comments at one point that was set up to, they had to be approved. Well, since then, I basically took it off. I mean, if you want to speak your mind, speak your mind. But at the same time, if you're going to say something that's going to offend somebody or, anything along those lines, then of course it's going to get deleted automatically. But I'm giving people, the freedom to speech. So if you want to go in there and say I suck, then, go ahead and say I suck. I could care less anymore. I'm just trying to open up the floor to get people's opinions. I just want to get their creative take on how things are done. But I digress. I've really sidestepped the video. And, once again, you see the value right here with the Demon Hunter with the traps. I find this, very valuable. I mean, there were some times where I probably just kind of wasted it. Well, I didn't really waste it, but, it really wasn't called for. But I mean, it's just that handy. It's great crowd control. I'm trying not to give you another spoiler, but, toward the end, once again, it becomes a great crowd control kind of thing. And when the time comes, I'll talk about that at great length. Now, that's probably not, it's not going to be in this video. It's going to be in the next video. So you won't have to worry about that. But times like this, once you get about 5, 6, 8 of them coming, you just drop the trap, step back, start firing. Rapid fire, take them out. And I was still learning some of the abilities, too, as I was going along. I mean, I didn't really know that the abilities you got can actually level up as you were going along. So toward the end, I was kind of realizing, hey, wait a minute, wow, this is pretty neat. As we descend right here to Cathedral Level 3, and yeah, you're going to start seeing more boss mobs, yeah, you're going to start seeing more mobs in general build up. And this is a pretty neat part right here. This is kind of where you get a sidekick. There's a warrior down there stuck by some necromancers. And the trick is you're going to have to go down here and pop them free. And of course, here comes the skeletons. They're just going to continually to summon these skeletons. Your job is to basically take them out along with the necromancers. Once you take enough necromancers out, the warrior's going to break free and he's going to give you a hand. Okay, there we go. Now he's out and he's kicking some ass, so go get him, dude. But, yeah. Well, I don't think he was a warrior. No, never mind. He was a warrior. He called himself something else. But, yeah. It's pretty neat that they had those kind of things in there. And I'm sure there might be some more, but unfortunately, it was only one part of the beta that's been open. So we only got to see so much, and that was pretty much that was it right there. And if there's one thing that, a lot of classic Diablo players do, and that, maybe some new people coming into Diablo should do, is exploration. You have to do a lot of exploration because, I'll tell you what, when I first got started in this beta, I thought I was going to have to get a lot of gold just to spend and get good gear. But I mean, there was times where I just did a lot of exploring, just doing stuff like this, where I've had a lot of good gear fall. Now, granted, I faded some tough monsters as well. They had some blues. There were a couple gold monsters in there. But, I mean, ultimately, it was worth it because what had happened, I got better gear that was on the vendors. So, not only was it saving gold, it was actually saving, time farming. It was saving, time trying to find something better than the stuff in the vendor. So, I mean, if it's one thing I would tell people in places like this would be to just basically flesh out the map. go around, search, check every nook and cranny, because you never know. Somebody might check a spot and say, oh, well, nothing drops there. Well, all of a sudden now, you may go to that spot and you may find like a magical item. You may find a rare item. It's just, it is what it is. So, yeah, checking stuff, everything is always a good thing. But like I said, classic Diablo players, they know this. You're going to go around, you're going to check every nook and cranny, you're going to flesh the map out just to figure it out. I remember spending all my time in Diablo 2 doing that, getting ready for, boss fights and such. What was it? I believe Act 4 or Act 5. You went down and you faced Diablo. It was something like that. And it's been so long since I last played, so I can barely remember myself. But exploration is definitely a big part of how you should handle the new game. I mean, of course, the world map seems like it's pretty big. If I had to compare it with the old one, I mean, I don't know. I would say it would probably be slightly bigger. I mean, I would think the monsters are a little bit more tougher. Now, that's the other thing. This is on normal difficulty. What happens when you get to higher difficulties, I can only imagine. I mean, once it gets into hard, nightmare, and whatnot, forget about it. I mean, some of these, when they grouped up, could be quite difficult just on normal. And I wouldn't say they were too difficult. Maybe a little challenging. Now, see right here was a teleporter I could have used to go back and empty my pack. It was a situation that I really didn't take advantage of. Yeah, I kind of looked at it and debated because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I didn't want to get sent back to town and, have to walk all the way back. Unfortunately, I learned about it a little bit too late, so. And of course, this is, we're getting closer to the Skeleton King. That's basically where the meteor hit, and, just for a little dramatic, you're going to see the things fall into the hole. So we're getting there, but it's basically just a lot of monsters, a lot of searching, and a lot of just basic collecting. And, it may seem like it's a boring thing, but it's not. You want to take advantage of this time and get ready, because there's a really good chance you'll get something good out of situations like this. I got plenty of blue magical items. It's just how it is. So, I believe we're coming up on the branch soon that's going to take us down, because this video will cut out beforehand, and the last video will pick up right for the fight for the Skeleton King. But yeah, this is one of those things for crowd control traps. Very handy. Now, as for the other classes, unfortunately, I don't know what I could tell you. I wanted to do a monk, but unfortunately, the time for the beta is running short. Actually, right about now, it's going to be closing in a couple of hours. So, I mean, I wish I can go back and do more, but my time is short. I don't really have access right now to go back and do it. So, I mean, my experience with the game has been fun. And now here's one of the gold monsters I was talking about. This is a great chance to get good loot. I mean, they're going to pretty much be random spawn. I mean, the random spawn rate is going to be pretty rare. But when it does happen, they're going to give you a bit of a fight. But they're also going to give you good stuff. So this is one of those times where you really want to find them. But you also have to be really careful. And, once again, my trap just comes in so much handy right here. Not just slowing him down, but slowing down any mobs that he may spawn as well. And, I mean, these freaking skeleton summoners are a real pain in the ass. I did not look forward to fighting them in the least. And, I mean, I'm trying to remember the monster to compare them to in Diablo 2. Right now, the name is not really touching off in my head. But, I mean, I think they were harder. I think they may be one of the harder ones since Diablo 2. And I mean, that's saying something considering some of the other ones. I mean, Christ. They had the skeletons with shields that could take a pretty good pounding in this game. I mean, it's not saying much because they're skeletons and they're still weak and they're going to die. But the shields kept them up for a good while longer. Now, this is a mini boss. He is, right around the corner from where the boss is. He's not too difficult, but once again, you see the crowd control being an issue, and, with your companion going around beating the hell out of him, It basically gives you a time to set down a trap, go ahead and pick off a couple of skeletons and whatnot. And I would basically recommend is if you can get your companion to attack the skeletons, I would switch up and go after the mini boss. This is on normal mode. He's not really that difficult. It just basically requires you having a plan. And at this point, you know, I wouldn't say we were alternating, but basically the traps were keeping him at bay. It was giving me some time to pop off a couple of shots. And as you can see, he fell pretty easy. And he dropped some pretty good loot. So, once he's done, okay, there we go, some loot. And, once he's done, we advance a little bit further before we ascend down to the next level. And I mean, there ain't much to the next level. I mean, like I said, I don't really want to give out the spoilers, but unfortunately, I thought there'd be more, but unfortunately, this was pretty much it. Now, this was neat right here. They ask you if you want to have him to your group. And of course, when you're fighting the Skeleton King, you definitely want to have this guy, unless you're pretty damn good. But here we go. We're going to ascend down Cathedral level 4. So we're actually coming up on the crypt. And, like I stated before, it's going to get annoying, but, flesh the whole dungeon out and get a chance to get some good gear. I would have thought fighting the boss of this dungeon, you probably want to max out in your cap. And this is pretty neat right here. Your companion can actually have abilities. And in this case, I gave him the healing ability, which actually worked out pretty well. I'm kind of glad I did. It was between an offensive and a healing. So I figured for the boss fight, it'd probably be best if I had him on a defensive, just keeping both of us alive. And it turned out to be a pretty good idea. So, I mean, you may want to do it differently. You may want to have him do it offensively, and that probably work out good as well, because he'll probably mow down the skeletons, or he'll probably hit the boss harder. So, I mean, there's probably no right or wrong way you could pick the ability. I mean, I really can't see it being that much of a difference. I guess it all depends on your playstyle and whatnot. And, I mean, that's the cool thing about this one, at least this dungeon right here. There's lots of places you can kick over and turn up things. Dead bodies, cracks in the floor, cracks in the wall, anywhere. You could pull the bookshelves down. I mean, it just makes it so much more interesting where you can find all this stuff. I mean, there's no way in the world you should be short on any type of gold in this game. There's always going to be a nook or cranny you should have to check. And, of course, having these little surprises, too, are neat. But I don't envy having these skeleton summoners come out. They're just a real pain in the ass. Having the trap ability on the summoner makes it so much easier when they can't get away. And there we go, level 9. So, right there, it's pretty much, that was pretty much all that was needed, level 9. And I'm trying, was he special? No. Okay, he was just an extra boss. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the cap was level 15, but, it's not really necessary. I guess if you really wanted to grind it out, which it would be really boring, but I'm sure it probably made the boss fight really easy once you got all the loot. But that reminded me, I don't think we ever found his texts. There was something he had stated when he originally joined your group, to where he said he was looking for his text, his holy books or something, and if he found them, they were to be his. I don't remember finding them. Now, I don't remember if that was just part of the beta, they weren't put in yet, or if that's just something, just to make conversation that's, just nothing more than that, conversation. For the most part, it may have been in there. I think I may have skipped a few parts at one point. As you can see right there, another blue magical item turns up. So, this is pretty neat right here, having him hop over the side and start fighting. It was a little annoying, but still, it was pretty neat to have him do it. Anything for pretty much not just the visuals, but just the gameplay itself. And as they just dropped a ton of gold. I can't even remember how much gold I had by the time all this was done, but I had a crap load. And there I found my other ability. And this is the ability I was talking to you about. Right off the bat, you're just like, what good is it? But then there's going to be certain situations where you're going to be like, oh shit, I thought this would be my old shit button, but actually it turned out to be pretty valuable, especially in the boss fight, because it does make a difference. I mean, basically, if the mobs or the boss get you cornered, this is your get out of hell free card. Well, this is your get out of trouble card, basically. If they corner you and you can't run around them, you're gonna pop this and you'll somersault out. You know, if you're surrounded and you can't get away, pop this. You're gonna somersault out. You're gonna get out of trouble. It makes a lot of difference. You combine that with a trap, and you can be turned into one badass demon hunter. Now, for shits and giggles, I don't know why I pulled that. I thought it was going to hit him, then I realized, oh yeah, wrong way. But I kind of like it. They had some traps in here, some chandeliers. There was some breakaway walls you could hit that would fall on top. Unfortunately, I don't think I've ever actually been successful to trigger one trap. I think all the traps basically just fell in front of me or on top of me and whatnot. But I mean, it's just neat to have them. When the game comes out, I'll have to remember that next time to use them properly. And then here's one of those situations where you have two skeletal summoners and they're just bringing in the mobs, where your trap would come in handy. And that's assuming if you want to be a demon hunter. I'm sure people want to be a priest or a warrior or a mage or whatnot. But I really found that being a demon hunter was pretty fun and amazing. So once the game comes out May 15th, I think that's something I'll probably do. Yeah, there we go. Once again, the trap falls harmlessly to the floor. Nobody gets hurt. So once again, it's just something to keep an eye on and remember. Maybe I'll save you a couple of clicks or save you some aggravation. To me, I could have utilized it a lot better than what I did. Basically, it was just for show. So yeah, here's that thing I was talking about with the breakaway shelves and the bookcases you could pull down. You'll find gold, you'll find health potions, you'll find a bunch of other stuff behind there. I mean, you never know. You may find some magical purple items back, or magical blue items, back there as well. It's just one of those things you definitely want to explore. And that's something I try to do a lot in here, to find the best gear I can. So, I think we are coming up upon it. Yes, we are pretty close now, that's right. It gets kind of hairy up here because I think the warrior guy kind of pulls some mobs and literally shit hits the fan. Yeah, now this guy spawns imps, or he doesn't spawn imps, he spawns something else, but they're not bad. They're mainly annoying. But I think the spot is coming up soon. I thought it was this, but apparently it wasn't. There's a spot where he goes up and attacks some mobs, but accidentally pulls a shitload of mobs out instead. And once again, we're just doing more exploring around here. Even if it's just for gold and loot and whatnot. And I really wish I would have had my pack open right about here, because Lord only knows how much gold or how much stuff I would have had. My back was full. There was nothing much I could do. So it was just kind of a waste. And I'm trying to remember at what point we found the door. Like I said, it should be coming up. I don't think, yeah, okay, there was some stuff in here. The bats, nothing to the bats. You can actually, the two abilities, your left click ability is kind of like a solo, but once you get an upgrade to it, it can actually shackle a second enemy. The right click ability was more of a kick. And that was pretty much, it's pretty powerful, but it'll drain pretty fast. Now this was pretty annoying right here. I think this might have been the spot where he pulled extra mobs. Yeah. And then you can see, yeah, this is where you're going to need crowd control, because, it gets pretty intense. You got 4 skeletal summoners, you got that big blue thing, and then you got skeletons coming out the ass. So shit's just coming down everywhere. And the one thing I should have really been focusing on would have been the skeletal summoners, because, they're just raining in the mobs. And as you can see, I start to focus them down first, laying down the traps as I go along to give me some space. And the whole pain in the ass thing right here after they're dead is all the skeletal shields, because they can take a pounding before they fall down. You're just trying to wail at them. And the amazing thing is, my companion actually managed to stay alive. So this may have actually been one of those times where having him as a healer worked out pretty good. And as you can see, they're just freaking tons of skeletons because of them damn summoners. But we actually managed to make it out without, him or me falling over. Of course, it helped a lot having those red potions fall down a lot too, and me having so many minor health. All right, so this point the door is coming up, and this video is going to wind down. I thank you for watching this video, and I thank you for watching the rest of the videos we've produced. Please tune in for the next one that's coming up soon. I hope you found these enjoyable, and I hope to see you again later. Take care.